Shabbat Shalom. It is good to be here this morning. I'm thankful for the Sabbath, thankful for this day of rest. Just thankful for Yah. He's just been so good to me. I just want to lift him up on high and just thank him for who he is. He always protects us. He gives us peace of mind. He gives us strength in a time of need. If you would, let us all stand this morning and turn to Jeremiah chapter 30. So while we were doing this message, he actually gave me what he wanted me to have from this message, and I'm excited about it. So if you would, Jeremiah 30 and verse 1. The word that came to Yirmiyahu from Yah, saying, Thus spoke Yah, Elohim of Israel, saying, Write in a book for yourself all the words that I have spoken to you. For look, the days are coming, declares Yah, when I shall turn back the captivity of my people, Yisrael and Yehudah, declares Yah, and I shall bring them back to the land that I gave to their fathers, and let them possess it. And these are the words Yah spoke concerning Israel and Yehudah, for this is what Yah said. We have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask now and see if a man is giving birth. Why do I see every man with his hands on his loins like a woman in labor, and all faces turned pale? Oh, for great is that day, there is none like it, and it is the time of Yaakov's distress. But he shall be saved out of it. And it shall be in that day, declares Yah of hosts, that I break his yoke from your neck, and tear off your bonds, and foreigners no more enslave them. And they shall serve Yah their Elohim, and David their sovereign, whom I raise up for them. And you do not fear, O Yaakov my servant, declares Yah, nor be discouraged, O Yisrael, for look, I am saving you from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity. And Yaakov shall return, and have rest, and be at ease, with no one to trouble him. For I am with you, declares Yah, to save you, though I make a complete end of all nations, where I have scattered you, yet I do not make a complete end of you, but I shall reprove you in judgment, and by no means leave you unpunished. So, let's lift up our eyes, praise Yah, and bless the people. Yah, Elohim of Israel, we are your people. We are looking for the return, Yah. You are so great. We just want to bless this people, Yah. May you put your name upon us, and we hold it to all reverence, that we understand that we need you, Yah, to make us and complete us and make us whole, Yah. In your image, we are made after your image, and we just want to represent you in all manner, Yah. Just thank you for this message. May we lift you up on high. Baruch Hashem. Hallelujah. Amen. You all may be seated. So just the basics of what is happening here. I know that we've been in Jeremiah 30, and I know that often when we do our message, Jason does his message, we've been doing Jeremiah, and when we do our message, we've, in the past few weeks, gone to Jeremiah 30. We've talked about Jacob's distress. We've talked about being punished. You will not go unpunished. So we've talked about those points in Jeremiah 30, but we want to get something else out of this morning. So Jeremiah 30 in verse 1, Then the word came to Yirmiyahu from Yah, saying, Thus spoke Yah, Elohim of Israel, saying, Write in a book for yourself all the words that I have spoken to you. For look, the days are coming. So there will be days that are coming. The days are coming, declares Yah, when I shall turn back the captivity of my people Yisrael and Yehudah, declares Yah, and shall bring them back to the land that I gave to their fathers, and let them possess it. We know from history that Israel has been scattered. Jeremiah was written in the time of Judah, when only Judah was left, and they are about to be scattered, but they get brought back, so on and so forth. That's a whole nother story. But he's talking about the full completion of Israel and Judah coming back together as one. So that has not happened yet. And when he's talking about this prophecy, they are understanding, and we should too, that Israel has been scattered. Judah is about to be taken into captivity also. So we need to understand that. This is a prophecy that is to come. For look, the days are coming, declares Yah, when I shall turn back the captivity of my people, Yisrael and Yehudah, declares Yah, and I shall bring them back to the land that I gave to their fathers, and let them possess it. And these are the words that Yah spoke concerning Yisrael and Yehudah. For this is what Yah said. We have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. That verse hit me. Thinking about what is to come. We have been thinking about and meditating on the distress of the nations. The distress that will come. the tribulation that will come. That's what that word distress means, the trial that will come. Now notice, he says, I hear a voice of trembling, fear, and no peace. Who is this directed to? Israel and Judah. Who is feeling the trembling, the fear, and no peace? Jacob. That is to us in the nations. If you notice, and he makes a simulation here, ask now and see if a man is giving birth. Why do I see every man with his hands on his loins like a woman in labor, and all faces turned pale? It's like they saw a ghost. They're scared. They're trembling. The distress upon the nations is coming. We live in a time of unrest, and the only place that you really kind of see it, but there are different states, is the United States. There is not the distress that you see across the other parts of the world. So we still have some freedoms here, but you can't expect that to always be there for you. You can't expect always to have food on your table. You can't always expect to have water from the tap. All these necessities or all these resources that we have so close to us, you can't always expect those. But Yah put them in the wilderness. I want to tell you that. Yah protected his people. It says that your clothes did not wear out on you, your shoes did not fail you. He said that he fed you manna, and he also gave you water from the flinty rock. So no matter what, Yah is going to take care of his people. You won't always have the ability to go to the grocery store. I just got an email this week. It was from Samsung Pay, and it said, add your vaccine paperwork to Samsung Pay. So we think often that if we can get away with maybe buying groceries on those websites and then they pick them for us and we go pick them up, that will be okay. But that's not the thought of it, because you will not be able to buy without the vaccine. So you also have what's happening in Australia, where you cannot work if you don't have the vaccine. As of October 1st, I think it is. So what is it coming to? You don't depend on the world. And Yah is going to put us in a place where you only depend on him. So, you look at this and notice he says that the trembling, the fear, it is in Israel. It is in Judah. It is in Yah's people. Shaking for fear. Concerning Judah and Israel, I heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. The face has turned pale, and every man is acting like he is giving birth. That's the pain that is upon them. Oh, for great is that day, there is none like it. So he's talking about a day that will come before he brings Israel and Judah back. And it shall be in that day, declares Yah of hosts, that I break his yoke from your neck, so the yoke of those who have us in bondage. I will break the yoke from your neck and tear off your bonds, and foreigners no more enslave you, Israel. And whether you agree with it or not, you are slaves here. You are a slave to the system. You get money, you pay your bills, they've got you. And you know what we give? We give up our freedoms for that. They have us. And you know what? They've got us by the throat. And as soon as they start taking those luxuries away from us, what's going to happen? Because if you can't go into the grocery store and you can't buy gas and you can't do this and you can't do that, where are you going to go? They've got us by the throat. You are a slave. And Yah's got to break you out. So, we'll read, I think whenever we get to Amos, here in a second, we'll read through Amos 8 and 9. Yah is going to sift the nations. And it says that Israel is among them. Yah's going to shake it up a bit. Oh, for great is that day. There is none like it, and it is the time of Yaakov's distress, but he shall be saved out of it. It shall be in that day, declares Yah of hosts, that I break his yoke from your neck and tear off your bonds, and foreigners no more enslave them. And they shall serve Yah their Elohim and David their sovereign, whom I raise up for them. And you, do not fear, O Yaakov my servant, declares Yah, nor be discouraged, O Israel. For look, I am saving you from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity. And Yaakov shall return and have rest and be at ease, with no one to trouble him. So there's a promise made to you, for you, that in your distress you will be saved. And he also tells you, do not be discouraged and do not fear. For I am with you, declares Yah, to save you, though I make a complete end of the nations. I'm going to completely end the nations. That word completely end or full end is completion, termination, complete destruction, annihilation. I'm going to consume the nations. I will not make a complete end of you. I don't think that Gentiles word is a very good word. I don't like that word. It's nations. Where I have scattered you, but I do not make a complete end of you, but I shall reprove you in judgment and by no means leave you unpunished. So you're not going to be guiltless. You're not going to be innocent. He's going to punish you for what you have done. He's going to sift you with the nations. And when we read in Amos, he says he sifts us, and then the useless falls to the floor. He's going to shake it up. He's going to see how stable your faith is. How much that you believe in him. For thus said Yah, your breach is incurable, and your wound is grievous. So concerning Judah and Israel, I have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. He's going to make a full end of the nations, but he will not make a full end of us. That is completion, termination, complete destruction, annihilation, and consume. Amos 8. We'll read Amos 8 and Amos 9. Got to find it. Might have to look at the front. I think it's before Psalms. Yep. Okay, so mine is 620 is where it starts. So that's probably where you'll find yours too. So Amos 8, and we'll just read 8 through 9. This is what the Master Yah showed me, and see a basket of summer fruit. And he said, Amos, what do you see? And I said, a basket of summer fruit. And Yah said to me, the end has come upon my people, Israel. No longer do I pardon them. And the songs of the temple, Hekel, shall be wailing in that day, declares the Master Yah. Many dead bodies everywhere thrown into any place. Hush, hear this. You who are swallowing up the needy, to do away with the poor of the land, saying, when does the new moon pass on, that we shall sell grain, and the Sabbath, so that we trade our wheat, to make the ephah small and the shekel large, and to satisfy the scales by deceit. So it's kind of like we're going to do these observances that Yah has, and after the observance is finished, let's go back to wickedness. When's the Sabbath over so I can go out and do whatever I want to do? To buy the poor for silver and the needy for a pair of sandals, and sell the shape of the wheat. Nasty. They're deceitful. They're wrong. He's angry with them. Yah has sworn by the excellency of Yaakov, I shall never forget any of their works. He's going to pour that back on their heads. Shall the land not tremble for this, and everyone mourn who dwells in it? And all of it shall swell like the river, heave and subside like the river of Mitzrayim. And it shall be in that day, declares the Master of Yah, that I shall cause the sun to go down at noon, and shall darken the earth on a day of brightness. and shall turn your festivals into mourning, and all your songs into lamentation, and bring sackcloth on all loins, and baldness on every head, and shall make it like mourning of an only son, and its end like a day of bitterness. See, days are coming, declares the Master Yah, that I shall send a hunger in the land, not a hunger for bread, nor a thirst for water, but for hearing the words of Yah. They're going to be hungry to hear the word, but it will say they will not find it. And they shall wander from sea to sea and from north to east. They shall diligently search, seeking the word of Yah, but they shall not find it. In that day, the pretty maidens and strong young men shall faint from thirst. So he's saying the young and the strong are going to be weakened in that day. So your beauty and your strength is going to be nothing. That word faint, I thought I put it in here. Faint, to become weak. We all know what it looks like when somebody faints. They shall faint from thirst. So what are they hungry and thirsty for? The word. And they're going to faint because they're not satisfied. Because they can't hear the word. That's why you have people leaving the church. That's why you have people leaving Christianity. Because it doesn't satisfy. I read this. When I was doing this message, I was so satisfied. It was so good to me. I mean, I love, this message is a good message. If you don't get anything out of it, I got something out of it. And I was just in awe of the wonder of Yah when I was reading this. In that day, the pretty maidens and strong young men shall faint from thirst. Those swearing by the sin of Shemaron, who say, as your mighty one lives, O Dan, and as the way of Beersheba lives, and they shall fall and never rise again. So what are they doing? They're going after idols. The title of this message is God of Gods. It's Elohim of Elohims, is what the title of this message is. I don't know if it's a revelation of what shall come. Yah is going to put distress on the nations. Okay? And then where are the people going to run to? Where are they going to run to? People are going to be crying out for their idols to save them. And when their idol does not save them, where else is there to turn? Yah. In the last days, and you read it through the scriptures and through the prophets, Yah is going to receive glory from everyone. When he puts the distress on the nations, he's going to put the distress on us too. We're not going to be unpunished. But in those times, our faith will get stronger. We will get closer to him. He's going to sift us like everybody else. But if you are shaken to break and you are shaken to faint, you're going to fall to the wayside. Not many's going to be there. He said, I'm going to leave a remnant of Israel. That should put us in awe of him. Now, what Yah really gave us out of this as we were reading through this, because ultimately what I was just going to try to get out of the message is the punishment that is to come. The distress that is to come upon all nations. And we will be there because the distress will come upon all nations where we are scattered. Through that, we will turn to Yah, and Yah will bring us back. Also, he makes these connections for us. You look through the prophet, it says, you shall be brought on the backs of sovereigns. Those kings that are in those nations, when they realize that Yah is El, they're going to lift us up and take us home. That's what I see out of that. Where we were brought low and called less than nothing and treated like a worm, as it talks in Psalms, Yah's going to reverse those roles. And the kings will be made low, and we will be lifted up. That's what he says about Jacob in Isaiah 52. The very last verses. I'm rejoicing inside right now. What we also got out of this message is God tests the false gods. He tests the ways of man. But not only does he test the ways of man, he tests the gods. And we'll get into that later. And that's what made me rejoice. Because when these gods are tested and these people go after their idols, they'll realize there's only one. And their idols have no power. They can't see, they can't smell, they can't taste, they don't hear. Yah's good. Yah's awesome. So those swearing by the sin of Shemaron, who say, as your mighty one lives. So they're talking about the mighty ones of Samaria. Who say, as your mighty one lives, O Dan, and as the way of Beersheba lives, and they shall fall and never rise again. So where is their mighty one? I saw Yah standing by the altar, and he said, smite the column head, so that the threshold shake. He's going to shake it up. And where will your idol stand? He's going to shake it up a bit. Smite the column head so that the threshold shake, and break them off by the head, all of them. And the last of them I slay with the sword. Not one of them fleeing gets away, and not one fugitive of them escapes. Where are you going to go from Yah? Where? Where will you hide? If they dig into the grave, from there my hand takes them. And if they climb up to the Shemaim, from there I bring them down. Now this is in correlation with Psalms, what we read last week. If I make my bed in the grave, you see me there. If I go up to the Shemaim, if I'm up on high, you know. If I'm at the lowest of lows and I'm having a bad, you see me if I'm having a bad day. So those who make a covenant with Yah are in good hands. But those who are not in covenant with Yah, the only Elohim living, El, this is going to be bad for them. They're going to try to run. They're going to try to hide. And he sees it all. I think when we get in Psalms also it says, the one who made the eye, can he not see? The one who made the ear, does he not hear? He sees. He knows. If they dig a grave, from there my hand takes them. If they climb up to the Shemaim, from there I bring them down. If they hide themselves on top of Carmel, from there I shall search and take them. And if they hide from before my eyes at the bottom of the sea, from there I shall command the serpent, and it shall bite them. And if they go into captivity before their enemies, from there I shall command the sword, and it shall slay them. And I shall lay my eyes on them for evil and not for good. And the Master Yah of hosts is he who touches the earth so that it melts. And all who dwell in it mourn. All who dwell in the earth mourn. And all of it come up like the river and subside like the river of Mitzrayim. Who is building his upper room in the Shemaim and has founded his firmament on the earth, who is calling for the waters of the sea and pours them out on the face of the earth. Yah is his name. Are you not like the people of Cush to me, O children of Israel, declares Yah? Did I not bring up Israel from the land of Mitzrayim, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and Aram from Kir? Look, the eyes of the Master Yah are on the sinful rain, and I shall destroy it from the face of the earth. Except that I do not completely destroy the house of Jacob, declares Yah. I'm sorry, but I don't know who is over in Israel right now, and I'm not going to debate whether it is true Jews or not. I also look in that scripture where they say it was fulfilled, shall a nation be made in a day? I'm sorry, but I do not think that that is the fulfillment of what happened in 1954, I think it was. I can't remember. When, do you remember the day? 40-something? 1940-something. Whenever the Jews got to go back in, because it's a full nation. I see that as the full nation of Israel. Continuing on. So, look, the eyes of the Master Yah are on the sinful rain, and I shall destroy it from the face of the earth, except that I do not completely destroy the house of Jacob, declares Yah. For look, I am commanding, And I shall sift the house of Israel among all the Gentiles. I'm going to sift them among all the nations. So they've already scattered. This is what shall be. That word sift. I'm going to make them quiver. I'm going to make them totter. I'm going to shake them. I'm going to make them reel, make move, wave, vibrate. They will be disturbed. I don't know why. I just want to say he's going to shake it up a bit. He's going to break all foundations. The only thing that's going to stand is his word. That verse just sticks out to me. For look, I am commanding, and I shall sift the house of Israel among all the nations. As one sifts with a sieve, yet not a grain falls to the ground. He's going to be perfect in it. All the sinners of my people are going to die by the sword. Those who are saying, evil does not overtake us nor meet us. In that day I shall raise up the booth of David. So, this is to come. Which has fallen down, and I shall repair its breaches and raise up its ruins. It just excites my mind. It just makes my brain go all different ways thinking about it. I just think of the light of the glory of Yah, seeing the temple, just everlasting day. And I shall repair its breaches and raise up its ruins. And I shall build it as in the days of old, so that they possess the remnant of Edom, and all the nations on whom my name is called, declares Yah who does this. Look, the days are coming, declares Yah, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes, him who sows seed, and the mountains shall drip new wine, and all the hills melt. And I shall turn back the captivity of my people Israel, and shall build the waste cities and inhabit them. And they shall plant vineyards and drink wine from them, and shall make gardens and eat their fruit. And I shall plant them on their own soil and not uproot them anymore. For from their own soil I have given them, said Yah, your Elohim. But what's got to happen before we go back to the land? The sifting. So that word among, sifting Israel from among the nations, surrounded by, in the company of. So we're going to all be in that sift. We're all going to all be in that sieve. Surrounded by, in the company of, member of members. And he said, not one grain is going to fall to the floor. Jeremiah 32. And this is actually where I got this message from what Jason was teaching last week. Jeremiah 32 got the basic concept of it. 32 and 26. Then the word of Yah came to Yirmiyahu, saying, See, I am Yah, the Elohim of all flesh. Is there any matter too hard for me? So he brought Israel out of Egypt, and now he's going to bring Israel from the four corners of the earth. And that's not hard for him. Therefore, thus said Yah, See, I am giving this city into the hand of the Kassadites, into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, and he shall take it. The Kassadites who fight against the city shall come and light a fire to this city and burn it with the houses whose roofs they burned incense to Baal and poured out drink offerings to other mighty ones to provoke me. Where are their mighty ones whenever this happens? For the children of Israel and the children of Yehudah have done only evil before me from their youth. For the children of Israel have only provoked me with the work of their hands, declares Yah. As I am inspired, and he is telling us, and we are thinking about this scripture, think about Messianic Judaism. It breaks my heart. They have left Yah. They have only done evil, and they have served their Lord, Baal, Jesus. For the city has been a cause for my displeasure and my wrath from the day they built it, even to this day, that I should remove it from before my face, because of all the evil of the children of Israel and all the children of Yehudah, which they have done to provoke me. They, their sovereigns, their heads, their chonim, their nevaim, and the men of Yehudah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And they have turned their back to me and not their face. Though I taught them, rising up early and teaching them, don't go after other mighty ones. They did not listen to receive instruction. And they put their abominations in the house, which is called by my name, to defile it. And they built the high places of Baal, their Lord, which are in the valley of Ben Hinnom, to offer up their sons and their daughters to Molech, which I did not command them, nor did it come into my heart, that they should do this abomination to make Yehudah sin. And now, thus said Yah, the Elohim of Israel, concerning the city of which you say, it shall be given into the hand of the sovereign of Babel, by the sword, and by scarcity of food, and by pestilence. See, I am gathering them out of all the lands where I have driven them in my displeasure and in my wrath and in great rage, and I shall bring them back to this place and shall let them dwell in safety. So he's saying, this is going to happen, but I'm going to do this. And they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim. And I shall give them one heart and one way to revere me all the days, for the good of them and of their children after them. Now notice, and I shall make an everlasting covenant with them, that I do not turn back from doing good to them, and I shall put my reverence in their hearts, so as not to turn aside from me. How is he going to do that? He's going to take away the other gods. He's going to shake up the lands. The whole world is going to reverence Yah and know that there is no El but him. That just excites me. That's why the message is God of gods. He likes to test your little gods. He likes to see how mighty they are. And I shall rejoice over them to do them good. The whole world will reverence Yah. And I shall rejoice over them to do good to them, and shall plant them in the land of truth with all my heart and with all my being. For thus said Yah, I have brought all this great evil on this people, so I am bringing on them all the good that I am speaking to them. And the field shall be bought in this land, of which you are saying it is a wasteland, without man or beast. It has been given into the hand of the Kassadites. Fields shall be bought for silver, and deeds signed and sealed, and witnesses be called. And in the land of Benjamin, and in the places around Jerusalem, and in the cities of Yehudah, and in the cities of the mountains, and in the cities of the low country, and in the cities of Negeb, for I shall turn back their captivity, declares Yah. That shall happen. Yah is going to sift the world in a sieve. Yah is going to shake things up and cause distress. This will bring reverence to his name. Many times does it say, the world will bow before him. Isaiah 29. This, after leaving Christianity, has become richer to me. It is living water. Isaiah 29 and 14. Therefore, see, I am again doing a marvelous work among this people, a marvelous work and a wonder, and the wisdom of their wise men shall perish. So this is the one where they're bringing the scroll, and it's like nobody can read it. Why can't they read the scroll? They are unlearned. They are not taught. They don't know what it's saying. And the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their clever men shall be hidden. Woe to those who seek deep to hide their counsel from Yah, and their works are in the dark. They say, who sees us? And who knows us? You can't hide anywhere from Yah. The one who made the eye sees, and the one who made the ear hears. You can't hide anything from him. How perverse of you! Should the potter be reckoned as the clay? Should what is made say to its maker, he did not make me? And what is formed say of him who formed it, he did not understand? It is not yet a little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a garden land, and garden land be reckoned as a forest. And in that day the deaf shall hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of gloom and out of darkness. And the meek ones shall increase their joy in Yah, and the poor among men rejoice in the set-apart one of Yisrael. For the ruthless one is brought to nothing. The scorner is consumed, and all who watch for trouble or evil shall be cut off. Yah's going to reverse the roles, and he's going to do it. Those who make a man to sin in word, and lay a snare for him who reproves in the gate, and turns aside the righteous with vanity or emptiness. Therefore thus said Yah, who ransomed Abraham concerning the house of Yaakov, Yaakov is no longer put to shame, no longer does his face grow pale. For when he sees his children, the works of my hands in the midst, they shall set apart my name, and set apart the set apart one of Yaakov. So Kodesh, set apart the Kodesh one of Yaakov, and revere the Elohim of Israel. It is him who has done it. And those who went astray in spirit shall come to understanding, and the grumblers accept instruction. There is hope. There's hope for them. Yah sees. Jeremiah 10. Just all of Jeremiah 10, because it is so good. Hear the word which Yah speaks to you, O house of Israel. Thus said Yah, do not learn the ways of the nations, and do not be frightened by the signs of the Shemayim, for the nations are frightened by them. For the prescribed customs of these people are worthless. For one cuts a tree from the forest, works for the hands of the craftsman with a cutting tool. They adorn it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers so that it does not topple. Now this is an idol. It's not a Christmas tree. Anyway, they are like a rounded post, and they do not speak. So he cut the tree and he fashioned the tree. He made it into an idol. Then he decked it. They are like a rounded post, and they do not speak. They have to be carried because they do not walk. Where is the power of your idol? Do not be afraid of them, for they do no evil, nor is it in them to do any good. So you think about Elijah, and we'll get into that too, just a little bit of that excerpt from that scripture. He said, I am the only one left. You have destroyed all the prophets of Yah, and I am the only one left, and I fear for my life, and that is why he ran. There might be a day when there's just only one left. But then what does Yah tell him? And I never get that number right. I have reserved an amount of people, 7,000 that have not bowed the knee to that Lord. There is none like you. So let's read verse 5 again. They are like a rounded post, and they do not speak. They have to be carried because they do not walk. Do not be afraid of them, for they do no evil, nor is it in them to do any good. So the idols can do nothing. No good, no evil. There is none like you, O Yah. You are great, and great is your name in might. So he says he's going to do it, and he does it, and he's powerful. Who would not revere you, O sovereign of the nations? For this is your due. For among all the wise men of the nations and in all their reigns, there is none like you, Yah. They are both brutish and foolish, and instruction of worthlessness is the tree. Silver is beaten into plates. It is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz. The work of the craftsman, of the hands of the smith, draped in blue and purple. All of them are the work of skilled ones. But Yah is truly Elohim. He is the living Elohim and the everlasting sovereign. At his wrath the earth shakes, and nations are unable to stand his displeasure. Say to them this, the Elah that did not make the Shemayim, and the earth shall perish from the earth and from under the Shemayim. So say to their idols, they're going to be destroyed from under them. He has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom, and has stretched out the Shemayim by his understanding. When he makes his voice heard, there is a roaring of waters in the Shemayim, and he makes vapors rise from the ends of the earth. The lightnings from rain he has made, and brings wind from his treasuries. Everyone is brutish in knowledge. Every smith is put to shame by his idol. For his molded image is falsehood, and there is no spirit in them. They are worthless, a work of mockery. In the time of their punishment, they perish. Gather up your bundle from the ground, you who live under siege. For thus said Yah, see, at this time I am hurling out the inhabitants of the land, and shall distress them, so that they feel it. Woe to me for my breaking. My wound is grievous, but I say, this is my sickness, and I bear it. My tent has been ravaged, and all my cords have been broken. My children have gone from me, and they are no more. There is no one to pitch my tent anymore, or to put up my curtains. For the shepherds have become brutish, and they have not sought Yah. Therefore they did not understand, and all their flock scattered. See, it has come, the voice of the report, and a great shaking out of the land of the north, to make the cities of Yehudah a waste, a habitation of jackals. O Yah, I know the way of man is not in himself. It is not for man who walks to direct his own steps. O Yah, chastise me, but with right ruling, not in your displeasure, lest you bring me to nothing. Pour out your wrath on the nations who do not know you, and on the tribes who do not call on your name. For they have eaten up Yaakov, devoured him, and consumed him, and laid waste his home. Yah tests all the works of men. Yah is the living El. Let's turn to Psalms 115. Psalms 115, not to us, O Yah, not to us, but to your name give esteem. For your kindness, for your truth. Why should the nations say, where now is your Elohim? But our Elohim is in the Shemayim. Whatever pleased him, he has done. Their idols are silver and gold, the works of men's hands. They have mouths, but they do not speak. They have ears, but they have eyes, but they do not see. They have ears, but they do not hear. They have noses, but they do not smell. They have hands, but they do not handle. They have feet, but they do not walk. They have no sound through their throat. The one who makes them shall become like them. Nothing. Lifeless. O Israel, trust in Yah. He is your help and their shield. He is their help and their shield. O house of Aaron, trust in Yah. He is their help and their shield. You who revere Yah, trust in Yah. He is their help and their shield. Yah has remembered us. He blessed us. He barak the house of Yisrael. He barak the house of Aaron. He barak those who revere Yah, the small and the great. Yah give you increase more and more, you and your children. You are Baruch by Yah, who made the Shemayim and earth. The Shemayim are the Shemayim of Yah, and he has given the earth to the children of men. The dead do not hallelujah. They do not praise Yah, nor any going down to silence. But we barak Yah, now and forever. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. This is what I see. Distress upon all the nations, no rest, no peace. The people will faint, be afraid, and run. where will they run? 1 Kings 18. We just got a few more. First Kings 18. We know this story about Elijah and the prophets of Baal, and it just resonates for me anymore. 1 Kings 18 and 21. And Elihu came to all the people and said, how long would you keep hopping between two opinions? If Yah is Elohim, follow him, and if Baal, the Lord, follow him. But the people answered him not a word. That is the challenge today. If Yah is El, then serve him. But if Jesus is El, that's Baal, Lord, it just resonates for me. Yah is El, and there was no one like him, and he's going to test that God. So, he said, how long are you hopping between two opinions? If Yah is Elohim, follow him, and if Baal, follow him. But the people answered him not a word. And Elihu said to the people, I alone am left of the prophets of Yah, but the prophets of Baal are 450 men. There's only one speaking truth, and we're small in number. Now let them give us 2 bulls, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, but light no fire. And I prepare the other bull, and shall lay it on the wood, but light no fire. And you shall call on the name of your mighty one, and I call on the name of Yah. And the Elohim who answers by fire, he is Elohim. So all the people answered and said, the word is good. Yah is tangible. He does things you can experience. And Elihu said to the prophets of Baal, the Lord, choose 1 bull for yourself and prepare it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your mighty one, but light no fire. So they took the bull which was given them and prepared it, and called on the name of Baal, the Lord, from morning even until noon, saying, O Baal, answer us. But there was no voice, and no one answered, and they leaped about the altar which had been made. They could have been aggravated. Where is our God? Why is our God not hearing us? And it came to be at noon that Elihu taunted them and said, cry aloud, for he is a mighty one. Is he meditating? Or is he busy? Or is he on a journey? I think some of the versions say vacation. Or it could be that he is asleep and has to be awakened. Where is your God? And that's what I love about this, this teaching, is he's the God of gods. And he tempts and tests the works of men. And not only that, but the gods of men. He did it in Egypt. He tested all their gods. Where are your mighty ones? Of course, they had their magic in the very beginning, but after that, they had nothing that could stop it. The locust, and even when you think about the magicians, they only added to the pain. They didn't relieve the pain. Yah's good. And I think about that. He is the God of gods, Elohim of Elohim. There is no one like him, and he tests those mighty ones. Where is your power? So I don't think Elihu is out of turn by saying that. Cry aloud to them. Is he on vacation? Cry really aloud. Maybe you got to wake him up. Where is your God? And they cried aloud and cut themselves according to their ruling, with knives and spears until the blood gushed out on them. Daniel 4. We got a few more and then we'll close out. Daniel 4. So this is after Nebuchadnezzar wakes up after Yah puts him in the wilderness. And this is what Nebuchadnezzar has to say. So Daniel 4:34. And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted my eyes to the Shemaim, and my understanding returned to me. And I blessed Barak the Most High, and praised and made him great, who lives forever, whose rule is an everlasting rule, and his reign is from generation to generation. So he's humbled now. He knows that he's but a man. Because what did he say? I have gotten all these kingdoms. And at that very moment, God got him. Yah got him. And his reign is from generation to generation. And all the inhabitants of the earth are of no account. And he does as he wants with the host of the Shemaim and among the inhabitants of the earth. And there is none to strike against his hand or say to him, what have you done? What have you done? That's what that means. There is none to strike against his hand and say, what are you doing? He doesn't answer to anybody. Nobody can stop him. At the same time, my understanding returned to me, and for the esteem of my reign, and my esteem and the splendor were returning to me, and my counselors and nobles sought me out, and I was reestablished to my reign, and excellent greatness was added to me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, am praising and exalting and esteeming the sovereign of the Shemaim, for all his works are truth, and his ways right, and those who walk in pride he is able to humble. Everything that is happening in your life serves its purpose. In Yah's purpose. Zechariah 8. Got two more. Zechariah 8, and then we're going to go to Deuteronomy. Zechariah, I find it. So, as he speaks, I think about preparing food, and I think about storing food, but you really need to be preparing yourself mentally. Mentally. It wasn't that Yah could not provide food for them because he took care of them. It was their mental attitude that messed them up. They did not want to follow Yah. So if you are preparing yourself, prepare yourself mentally and spiritually for what is to come. Zechariah 8. That's a short book. Zechariah 8, and the word of Yah of hosts came, saying, Thus said Yah of hosts, I shall be jealous for Zion with great jealousy, with great wrath I shall be jealous for her. Thus said Yah, I shall return to Zion, and I shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. For Jerusalem shall be called city of the truth, and the mountain of Yah of hosts, the set apart mountain. For thus said Yah of hosts, again, old men and old women shall dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, each one with his staff in his hand because of great age. And the streets of the city shall be filled with boys and girls playing in its streets. Thus said Yah of hosts, if it is marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people in these days, should it also be marvelous in my eyes, declares Yah of hosts. Thus said Yah, and just reading verse 6, he delights in his people. He delights in his people. Thus said Yah of hosts, see, I am saving my people from the land of the sunrise and from the land of the sunset. And I shall bring them back, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim in truth and in righteousness. Thus said Yah of hosts, let your hands be strong. You are listening in these days to these words from the mouth of the Nevi'im of the day of the foundation was laid for the house of Yah of hosts, the hekel that was to be rebuilt. For before these days there was not a wage for a man, nor a hire for beast, and there was no peace for him who went out or came in because of his enemies. And I turn all men one against another. But now I am not as in the former days to the remnant of this people, declares Yah of hosts. Because of the sowing of peace, the vine gives its fruit. The ground gives her increase, and the Shemayim give their due. And I shall cause the remnant of this people to inherit all these. And it shall be, as you were a curse among the nations, O house of Yehuda and house of Israel, so I shall save you. And you shall be a blessing, Baruchah. Do not fear, let your hands be strong. For thus said Yah of hosts, as I purposed to do evil to you when your fathers provoked me, declares Yah of hosts, and I did not relent. So again in these days I have purposed to do good to Yerushalayim and to the house of Yehuda. Do not fear. These are the words you should do. Speak truth to one another. Judge with the right ruling for peace in your gates. And do not plot evil or trouble in your heart against another. And do not love a false oath. For all these I hate, declares Yah. And the word of Yah of hosts came to me, saying, Thus said Yah of hosts, the fast of the 4th, and the fast of the 5th, and the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th are to be joy and gladness and pleasant appointed times for the house of Yehuda. And they shall love the truth and the peace. Thus said Yah of hosts, peoples shall yet come, inhabitants of many cities, and the inhabitants of the one go to the other, saying, Let us earnestly go and pray before Yah, and seek Yah of hosts. I myself am going, and many peoples and strong nations shall come to seek Yah of hosts in Yerushalayim, sorry about that, and to pray before Yah. Thus said Yah of hosts, in those days 10 men from all languages of the nations take hold. They shall take hold of the edge of the garment of a man, a Yehudai, saying, Let us go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you. There's only one El. There's only one mighty one. And they're going to figure it out the hard way. Where will they run to? They will have nowhere to run but to Yah, for their idols will not save them. Deuteronomy 10, and we'll close out. Deuteronomy 10 and 12. And now, Yisrael, what is Yah your Elohim asking of you, but to revere Yah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways and to love him, and to serve Yah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, to guard the commands of Yah and his laws which I command you today for your good. See, the Shemayim and the Shemayim of Shemayim belong to Yah your Elohim, also the earth with all that is in it. Yah delighted only in your fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, you above all peoples, as it is today. And you shall circumcise the foreskin of your heart in obedience to Yah, and harden your neck no more. For Yah your Elohim is Elohim of mighty ones and master of masters, the great El, mighty and awesome, who shows no partiality nor takes a bribe. He executes right ruling for the fatherless and the widow, and loves the stranger, giving him food and a garment. And you shall love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Mitzrayim. Revere Yah your Elohim, serve him and cling to him and swear by his name. He is your praise, he is your Elohim, who has done for you these great and awesome deeds, which your eyes have seen. I told you, he's tangible. You see it now. Your fathers went down to Mitzrayim with 70 beings, and now Yah, your Elohim, has made you numerous as the stars of the Shemayim. He is God of gods. He is Elohim of Elohim, master of masters, the Shemayim of the Shemayims. It is his and all the earth and everything in it. He tests the works of men. He tests the gods of men. He wants to see what powers they have, what strength that they have. Elohim of Elohim. The distress will come. And when it does, and he shakes things up, and he's shaking and sifting the world in the sieve, are you going to pass the test? Yah's good. Yah's great. I rejoice. He is so good. Follow him fully with all that you have. Baruch Hashem. Have a blessed Sabbath.